starry nights, a white crescent moon, sugar and spice on a long wooden spoon, snowflakes and snowballs, ice skates and sleighs, mulled wine and mince pies, fires all ablaze, round shining eyes, pink little cheeks. Is that present wine? No child must peek.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, and welcome to GNet's first holiday cookie swap. So I have 4 bakers with me today, and we're going to talk about, they've each brought a batch of their famous signature holiday cookies, and we're going to talk to them about their cookie and anything specific that makes it special to them. We're going to find out. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, we have a special guest, I think. Is that who I think it is?
Oh, ho, ho.
Come on in.
We're
Just
having
in
a
time.
cookie party without Santa? Oh.
Come on in. Why don't you have a seat right there and
I
join
will
us?
have one, yes.
Did you bring
Hello,
cookies?
all. How are you?
So it's not a cookie party without Santa, I guess. We're gonna start our talk with Annie. And Annie has brought her signature holiday cookie. So you want to tell us what kind of cookie you
Right. I bought shortbread, which I bake, and it comes in a little flat, round, is the way I make it. And this is a recipe that my husband and I were living in Scotland right after we got married. And Scottish shortbread, it was the first time I had ever had it. And I fell in love with it. And finally got a recipe that I thought was like just the best.
You want to take the plate so we can kind of give a so it's kind of like a triangle? Is
Yeah,
this it right
that's
here?
it, yeah.
Let's see.
Cut it like in pieces of pie, really.
So you said it comes in like a flat, I don't understand
Well,
what it came
I
in.
mean,
It's like a flat?
I make it with the Cuisinart, okay? It's just a round piece of dough, but then when I put it in it's a little flan pan is what I use.
Okay. So you can use anything.
You can use anything.
So you
yeah,
can make a
but
big
I've
one.
always seen, shortbread as little pie-shaped kind of things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But it also was a time when Julia Childs was at her height that I remember when I found the recipe that I thought was great. I'm thinking, oh my God, it has so much butter. And then she came on television and said one day, ladies, if you're worried about using cream, use butter. And that's really what that is that makes that so delicious.
Mm-hmm.
And it also, the other thing is great, I give it as Christmas gifts. And you can make batches and freeze it so that you can just bring it out and bake it when the time is right for that.
So you freeze it before you bake it? You just freeze the batter?
Yeah, once I've done the dough,
Yeah.
and I just freeze it in little round balls and then bring it out, and it makes it easy to do fresh then.
Right. Oh,
And give us gifts, and I wrap it up. And
when you give it, is it like a whole pie in that
yes,
dish?
Yes.
So you buy, so the person gets to keep that.
Well, I usually just cut out a piece of cardboard underneath it, and then put tissue paper or.
Wow,
Yeah.
that sounds lovely.
Yeah.
How many do you think you churn out in one
I mean,
holiday
over the
season?
years?
No, one
Oh.
holiday for Christmas. How many will you make?
I think my list usually goes, I have different things for different people, but I think I usually make about 10 batches of it.
Cold starry nights, a white crescent moon.
And next we're going to talk with Gloria.
I brought this here in the middle, and I also brought these crescent ones. And I had a really hard time deciding which one, so I decided to bake 2. And both of them come from my grandmother, who was originally from Czechoslovakia. And I have really fond memories of spending time in the kitchen with her, learning how to make these things. So the first cookie is this one here.
It almost
And
looks like a
it's-
fortune cookie.
Yeah, it's rolled out and then cut and twisted and then fried in oil, and then we sprinkle powdered sugar on it.
Looks delicious. So it's kind of got a flaky, is it a flaky
Yes,
cookie?
yeah, flaky. Yep. And apparently, I thought it was special to just the Slovak tradition, but friends have told me that in Scandinavia, they make a similar cookie as well. So,
What's it called? Does it
my grandmother always called it chiregi, and that was the Slovak my mother was Polish, so I think she would probably have called it Krzyziki, which is a similar cookie as well.
Okay.
And the second cookie I brought is my absolute favorite. It's crescent. It doesn't really have a name. I just call it my grandmother's crescents. But they are quite a process. It has sour cream and lots of butter and shortening in it. There is no sweetener in the dough itself. Where you get the sweetness is in the sprinkled powder on top, but it's also rolled. When I roll it out, it's rolled in powdered sugar. But the inside of it has a fruit and nut filling.
But did anybody think that was in there? Because I thought it was just going to be
No.
buttery.
This is for today. I've made an apricot filling or a strawberry filling.
Okay, we got it. Dan needs a bite. Can you hand him one?
You need a
He needs a
strawberry.
bite. Can you tell? How
Strawberry,
can you tell?
I can't tell. I know this one is apricot though, but you know
Okay.
what? This might be a strawberry.
Just hopefully
So
you're going to
let's-
get lucky. If
There.
it's not strawberry, will you eat it anyway?
Absolutely. First of all, it's very soft
Okay,
and it's got a very nice texture.
all right. You got to get a big bite to get into that center.
It's flaky.
And is it
Not
sweet?
too sweet.
No. 'cause
Show
it's
us
Which
the,
I like.
Yeah,
show
can we
us
see
the
the
inside.
I'm gonna get to
Okay,
the.
wait.
Oh, he's going to eat it all before he shows us.
Oh, you got an
Oh,
apricot.
I see.
Did you get an
Okay.
apricot?
So when you're doing this, do you do this with those?
They're first made into
You're gonna eat the whole-
little
you're gonna have to eat the whole
balls,
thing.
Oh, I will.
and then I take each ball and I roll it out into a flat circle. You put the filling in, and then you just roll it up and
Oh, I see
pinch,
how you do
pinch
it.
the edges.
Okay.
But my grandmother actually used to put a prune filling in there, and I absolutely love prune filling, but it's very hard to find around here.
Oh, is
so.
that
It would be more like a hamantaschen. For Jewish for Purim, they have a hamantaschen, which is a prune filling. But
Right.
This is so light and delicate and really beautiful.
Oh, I'm gonna have to try one. Did you bake with your grandmother then
Yeah,
when you were a little
yeah,
girl?
yeah.
And were you here in the United States?
Yes, yeah, she lived in New Jersey, Brooklyn and New Jersey, so visits down there, I would spend cooking all kinds of stuff with her.
Cold starry nights, a white crescent moon.
And now we're going to talk with Dan here, who is owner of Vermonster Cookies, which is right here out of Bennington. And tell us what cookie you brought.
Well, VermonsterCookies.com it's an online baking company that I just started. They're all custom-made, handmade cookies, and I brought the signature one is the maple bacon chocolate chunk, but I also brought the caramelized pecan chocolate chunk cookie as well. And what I try to do is
Go ahead
I
and
try
have
to
a
make a crunchy first bite, but a chewy center.
This one.
So
How
I
do
try
you
to
do that? How do you
I
make
get to have a bite.
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's top secret. I could tell you,
Okay,
but
and
then
then you'd have to kill me.
that's right.
Oh, this is the
No
bacon
violence.
one.
No
Yeah,
violence.
we got Santa over your
That's right.
shoulder. No
Santa's
threats.
looking
Yeah.
at-
no
after
threats.
you.
Did you get a good bite? Want a lot of bacon?
This is, it's the savory with the chocolate is incredible.
It is more of a it's almost like an umami savory flavor. It's an acquired taste. You know, the Japanese have that umami flavor.
I thought
That's-
umami was covered all the. Isn't it like sour, sweet, salty?
No, it's the
Oh my
fifth
God,
one.
this is so good.
There's sour, sweet, salty, and
What's the-
bitter, and then umami is savory.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
So I thought with the chocolate and you know how salted caramel now it's salt and chocolate. So I thought, well, I love bacon, I love chocolate. Why not combine those two? And one of the gifts that I got when I got married was a box of recipes that the woman who made the box asked everyone who was invited to the wedding to bring their favorite recipe from their family.
Oh, that's such a.
And lo and behold, my cousin's recipe from their great-grandmother, who's also my great-grandmother, was a chocolate chip cookie.
It didn't have
Subtraction.
bacon in it back then.
It did not have bacon in it, but I tweaked that recipe. But it's a 100-year-old recipe that I tweaked a little bit to make these cookies.
And they're huge. So did you decide? What made you decide to make them so big?
Well, because I came up with the name, Vermonster. So they're big. And I use only local ingredients from Vermont, the butter and the chocolate and the
Maple
flour. It's
syrup.
all locally sourced stuff and the bacon. So I thought Vermonster cookies, let's make them really big.
Yeah, let's just blow it out.
That's
Why bother,
You know, having tasted it now, the one thing that I particularly like about it, it's not too sweet.
Exactly.
I love that. I mean, because often, when you sort of eat a Toll House cookie or something, you're just left with this sugar.
Thank you for that.
Santa, I think Santa needs to try one.
Try one. That's right.
Do you want one?
Santa's had enough cookies so far.
Do you want to try?
Right.
They sound delicious.
They are so unusual.
Well, thanks, Dan.
Cold starry nights, a white crescent moon.
Last we have Lynn. So tell us what cookie you brought.
So I brought the candy cane.
Oh, this guy is
And-
yours.
Yeah, yep. And it's kind of special because we grew up making them in 4-H. My mother was a 4-H leader. I was in 4-H my whole life, and that was just the top of every cookie tray. But these cookies, they're time-consuming because it's 2 different colors, and there's also crushed peppermint on top, and it's just you add a little bit of crunch to every bite. And
I'm getting to be the fall guy here.
Anybody else want to try a piece?
How about a bite?
Dan?
Mm-hmm.
Lisa got that one. I'm sorry, so go ahead. So there's peppermint on the top.
So it's just a fun cookie to add, and a nice
Anybody
little
else?
color to add
Santa.
to every tray that you
It
have.
matches you.
Later.
So you grew up making this cookie with your mom, and now do you bake this with anyone, or is it just something you do by yourself?
Just by myself, and
do you
I
wanna try
have
it?
passed it along to my kids when they've all graduated from high school. And as they all graduated from high school, I made up a cookbook for each of them with all of the recipes.
They were different for each kid, or they all got the same cookbook?
They all have the same thing, and it's all recipes that I made as they were growing up, entrees and desserts, and especially things that I have gotten from my mother, my grandmother has all gone into this
idea.
cookbook. And so the candy cane
idea.
cookie is definitely in there.
Yeah, it's really good.
I did a cookbook also with a lot of my grandmother's recipes.
Yeah.
The thing that I did that I'm so glad is that I put pictures. I had pictures of my grandmother standing at the stove cooking with my mother. And so for like my grandkids who really didn't know my grandmother, it's terrific
Really
to see that.
that's sweet.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And I actually, in their cookbooks, I put pictures of them growing up.
Oh, well, that's
And
terrific.
the family.
That's
Yeah.
really cute.
Cold starry nights, a white crescent moon.
But I think Santa brought a cookie.
Well, Santa really's not into baking cookies. He relies so much on Mrs. Claus for all of them little treats. But Mrs. Claus was kind of under the weather today, so I had to ask the reindeer to help me out.
Baking?
And they're pretty good, It depends on what you feed them.
They do well with those hooves.
I have what we call the drop cookie, and it's just a nice peanut butter cookie. You bake the cookie and then you put a Reese's Pieces down in it.
Oh, yeah.
So it's super peanut butter, and of course I love peanut butter, and all the reindeer love peanut butter,
they
so it works out just
So
fine.
the Reese's peanut goes on after they come out of the oven?
The oven, when
right
they're
away
still
while
hot.
they're soft.
Push them right in.
No, that
And then it
sounds
melts.
really
It
good.
just kind of.
It softens, but it holds form, and you can use Hershey's Kisses or almost any kind of candy in the top. But afterwards, a softer candy.
Oh, it sounds good. Thank you guys so much for coming. It was really great, and I appreciate sampling everybody's cookies and talking with you guys. And actually, now we're going to go swap some cookies.
Oh boy,
Oh, wow.
send me all
Nice.
these.
Cold starry nights, a white crescent moon. Sugar and spice on a long wooden spoon. Snowflakes and snowballs, ice skates and sleighs. Mulled wine and mince pies, fires all ablaze. Round shining eyes, pink little cheeks. Is that present